Aloha mai kako, everyone. Happy Veterans Day. Welcome to episode 98 of the Moana Nui Podcast. Today we have a really special panel. I'm excited to bring this to you all and have the honor of hosting this great topic today. But before we do that, let us introduce ourselves for those who might be tuning in to the Moana Nui Podcast for the first time. My name's Moana. I'm the founder of the show. I'm also a children's book author for the Adventures of Nakoa and Nohea children's book series, editor for the Wild Card Chronicles comic series, um, and a advocate for our BIPOC communities, and today especially our veterans. As always, I am joined by my partner in crime, the woman who keeps me going and keeps me sane on this show, my sis, Dana.
Aloha, everyone. For those that may or may not know me, I'm Dana. I am a cosplay event and con staff photographer for cons such as Dragon Con, Anime Week in Atlanta, MomoCon, and you've even seen my photos with DC Comics. I'm also a voice actor, event planner, and a whole lot more. And now I am going to hand it over to the woman of the hour, the Renaissance woman of our time, the yin to my yang, the lovely, the beautiful Moana.
She always cracks me up with that. Um, so thanks again. And before we get started, though, just a couple announcements that I wanted to make. For those who don't know, for the Adventures of Nakoa and Nohea series, we are launching our next book next Tuesday, November 16th on Kickstarter, and we're really excited. Ryan Robinson is coming on as my new illustrator, and we're having so much fun creating this story. He's actually in the comments now. Hey, Ryan. So yeah, hope you guys can check that out. You can follow along at moanatheauthor.com and just hit the notify on launch, and it'll send you all the notifications when the project is ready to go. And I think that's the main one for tonight. So let's jump into the panel.
And don't forget what was yesterday.
What was yesterday? Oh, yes. The Marine Corps' birthday. What's wrong with me? Hello. These gentlemen are probably like rolling their eyes in the back at me like, come on, Mo. Happy birthday, Marine Corps, for sure. So today we wanted to do this really special panel to honor our real life heroes, our veterans. And today we are focused specifically on the devil dogs of the Marine Corps. And we're joined by four amazing men, all who I am honored to call friends, and really excited to get to know a little bit about their career in the military and some of their experiences and how they can help others who are either considering joining the military or who might be looking for assistance on, dealing with some of the issues that come as being a service member. So excited to have them on. Veterans Day actually marks the end of World War I, where more than 380,000 Black soldiers served in the war. And tonight we are joined by four who served in the elite forces of the U.S. Marine Corps. So let us bring them up onto the show, and we will go around and do some introductions. First, we have Wendell. Wendell is a USMC veteran who served during the Iraqi War in the early 90s. He is a husband and father of three. His hobbies include cosplay, fashion, costume, and prop design. He is a fan of Star Wars, Marvel comics, and just about anything geek. So welcome, Wendell.
Yeah, how's everybody doing?
Good. Eric is a USMC vet currently working for the federal government. His hobbies include cosplay, Eric the Smoke, acting, and producing. And we're so excited to have Eric on the show as well.
Hello, how are y'all doing? Thank you.
Good. Welcome, brother. It's good to see you.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we have Nuri. Nuri is a U.S. Marine Corps veteran, of course, my hubs. Very proud of this man. He served in the infantry during Operation Sea Signal and Operation Restore Democracy. He is a husband, mechanic, and small business owner of the Burning Spear LLC, where he uses his Marine Corps experience to tell stories in comics and educate on the safe and appropriate use of firearms. Welcome, Nuri.
Hey, what's up?
And then last but not least, we have Donald, affectionately known as D-Web. He is also a USMC veteran, a husband, and a father of 4 awesome kids. He's a project supervisor for a company named Convergent. He's a huge Batman fan. And of course, he has a massive love for Wildcard Chronicles, especially the new awesome character called Backblast, which we'll be maybe talking a little bit about tonight. His hobbies include hiking, trailing, gaming, and this new sport called extreme sleeping. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's the best sport ever. So welcome, D-Web. Welcome, gentlemen, to the show.
Thank you for having me.
This is awesome. So I'm really honored to have you guys here tonight. And Nuri and I were talking before the show, and he's like, you're gonna be on this panel with all these, hard-charging Marine Corps, veterans. Like, no pressure. And I'm like, I'm good. These are my fam. We're here, and I'm really excited to just talk to you guys about your time in service, and just help our listeners learn a little bit more about like what it's really like to be in the military, because a lot of people see it as like this glory, which it is, but there's also another more, the real life side of it. So let's just jump on in. The first question I want to ask you guys is, many people join the military because they come from a family who has, a history of serving in the service. There's generations after generations who have served across different branches of the armed force in World War I, World War II, the Korean War, Vietnam War, Iraq, Afghanistan, and so much more. What led you to the military, and why did you choose the Marines? I'll start with the smoke.
For me, I joined the Marine Corps. I've been wanting to be a Marine since Jay Hyde. Now, I come from a family of different people who served in different branches of the service. My father, my uncle, my uncles, who one of them who I was named after. But for my brothers, I have 2 older brothers. Both of them were Marines. And for myself, my oldest brother, unfortunately, he passed away back in '92 while serving. And my other brother, who just recently retired back in 2019, who was a Sergeant Major of Marine Corps, a highly decorated Marine, served like 6 different tours, silver, bronze star, silver star. He's highly decorated. Like, he's spoken at a lot of different places. And before all that, they were basically my inspirations for wanting to join. I mean, like I said, growing up, like we talked about like wanting to join, and that was like since high school. Like that was my goal. Like, my father was like, well, in our household, it was either you were going to college or you were joining the military. And so for me, it was a no-brainer because I didn't want to go to college because I thought college to me was just sitting in another classroom, which I wanted to not do since I did that for 4 years for my teenage years. I wanted to be adventurous. I wanted to see the world because I did not get the opportunity to see the world when I was growing up because I lived in the city and everything. So this is the opportunity. And I will say this, that was the opportunity of a lifetime. And in doing so and seeing what it did for my brothers, I wanted to have that experience, and it changed them. I saw how much it changed them. I wanted to have that experience. And I mean, I know later on we'll talk more about that, but that was the thing that influenced me, seeing from films and television and movies and all. Between that, seeing my brothers join, I wanted to be a part of that. And to me, that was like a unique fraternity in itself. And so more than anything, I wanted to be a Marine. That was like an ultimate goal of mine. That was one of my lifelong goals in life, to become a United States Marine.
That's what's up. Let's go to Nuri because I know he has a similar kind of school is not for me stance. So
Yeah. Well, first I want to give a shout out to a couple of brothers that aren't here. McCombs, Corporal Loki, Kane Jackson, Rivera. These men, some of the finest men I've ever known. Me, Loki, and McCombs go so far back that we stood on the Yellow Footprints together. So to go from the Yellow Footprints to Echo 22 and all the adventures we had there, solid brothers, man, solid. And some of these brothers that I just named, they just recently passed within the last 2 years. So, okay, I went from I'm third generation military. My dad was Vietnam drafted, his brothers Marines. I knew I was going into the military. I didn't want to waste my parents' money on college. I said, if I want to go to college, I'll get the GI Bill. That way, when I get out, if I go to college and I don't like it, it's my money that I wasted, not theirs. Yep. So I was in the Air Force ROTC in high school. So in the 9th grade, naturally, I wanted to go to the Air Force Academy, be a pilot. Somewhere that changed. And by the end of my junior year, I'm like, Dad, I'm joining the Marines. My dad said, what? You gonna do what? Yeah, I'm joining the Marines. He said, why? I said, man, they got nice uniforms. He said, look, son, I'll take you down to Salvation Army. Get you the Marine Corps uniform. You walk around in a couple of days, you get tired of it, you be done with it. He said, son, look, I don't understand. He said, I was drafted. I didn't have a choice. You got a choice and you choosing to go. He said, look, when I was in Vietnam up in Da Nang, he said, man, the worst time I spent in Vietnam was up in Da Nang with the Marines. He said, man, it sucked. There's been rocket attacks every night, mortars attacks. Man, they live like animals. Look, man, you don't want to do this. Next thing you know, I was bringing the recruiter to the house. Going into that delayed entry program. So I went on in there and I was like, man, this is bad. But I didn't want to give him the satisfaction. I wasn't gonna quit. I was not gonna quit because I didn't, as bad as those drill instructors were, I didn't want to go home and face my dad. So I was watching cats quit because our platoon was like 79 when we started. We graduated like 48. I was watching jokers drop like fives, but I was like, I ain't going home and face my daddy. So as time went on, he was proud of me anyway. My dad was one of those stoic individuals, so you wouldn't know it. And the only reason why I found out that he was proud of me is I went to his job one day because I had to go down to Union Station in D.C. and bring him something. He was the chief engineer down there. So a lot of his coworkers saw me. I was just home one weekend on like a 96 or 72. And he was like, your daddy, man, he's really proud of you being in the infantry. He talk about you all the time. I said, what? The man that didn't want me to go in the first place. I said, okay, but that made me feel good. So, but yeah, that's pretty much how I ended up in the Marine Corps.
Gotcha. All right, let's go to D-Web because you served with Nuri. So tell us a little bit about your story.
It's pretty much the same, as everyone else's. I have family members, my uncles, pretty much specifically. They're like my older brothers more so than my uncles, but they're all in the Army. So they kind of blazed that trail of military service. So I knew I wanted to do it. I'm from Alabama, and I don't know if any of you all have been here. There's nothing to do here. So I was looking to escape as soon as I got out of high school. Matter of fact, I was trying to leave the night of graduation, but they told me they had to wait a couple of months. I couldn't leave then. And much like Eric, as a kid, when I saw that uniform on TV, I knew, okay, I'm going to the Marine Corps. That uniform was fire. I know I got to go. What they failed to tell me was that stripe, because I was like, oh, you get a sword in the stripe? You had to say, okay, you got to be an NCO to get all that. Wait a minute, what? It doesn't come. Oh man, it got me. And another funny thing about the Marine Corps is my recruiter failed to tell me, and it's my fault because I should have been thinking Marine. I didn't know you had to swim, and I couldn't swim when I first got to the Marine Corps at all. And I remember waking up or getting ready to hit the rack in boot camp, and the drill instructor was like, "Oh yeah, we get up at 0 dark, we got swim qualifications." And me being the genius I was, I raised my hand and said, "Wait a minute, is that everybody?" And he was like, you know what, Webster, come on up here this quarterdeck. And I did so many push-ups for asking that question. And needless to say, I learned to swim. I said, yeah, okay, I'm going to learn this because I don't want to do any more push-ups. But again, you know, it's just from seeing my uncles go to the military and seeing how it affected them and impacted their lives. And seeing they were already good men, but it seems like they became even better once they became soldiers in the army. And once I knew, I got to boot camp, and once I graduated, I was like, oh man, you know what, this is it. It was a perfect fit for me. I knew since I was a kid that's where I wanted to be. And once I got out of school into the fleet to 2-2, it was that I felt like home. All those guys, they instantly became my brothers. Most of them, a lot of them, I'm still in touch with. As you know, me and Nuri, we're definitely still tight. Um, and it was just a perfect experience, a wonderful opportunity. I got to see places I never would have seen had I not joined the Marine Corps. Places I still, want to get back to because of the Marine Corps, my time in the Marine Corps. But definitely that kinship and that brotherhood we developed, that's second to none. And I'm quite sure, everybody else probably can attest to it. You make friends outside the Marine Corps, true enough. There is nothing like that brotherhood and that kinship with those fellow devil dogs you laid down in those foxholes with. Nothing like it. It doesn't matter if we talk today or every other year, every few years. As soon as you hear their voice and you get that message from instant connection right back, like you picked up where you left off from. And Nuri, I know Nuri remember Doc Cox, right?
Oh my God!
I just talked to him today. I told him I was going to do this. He told me make sure to tell you what's up. So yeah, I just want to pass that along. Yeah, man, that's my guy.
That's awesome. So let's go to Wendell. I don't think we've talked too much about your story, so I'm excited to hear it.
Yeah, my story is way different than this because for me, my mother. Well, actually, it starts kind of similar because my mother's retired Army, my dad's Army, my stepdad's Marine Corps. I have an uncle who retired Army. I have another uncle who retired Air Force, and so on and so forth. I have a slew of cousins that are, throughout the military as well. But me, I was one of those kids. I was pre-selected for the first pre-engineering program for my high school. I was, I was a super nerd. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead, finish playing sports and then go to college. Senior year came around, September rolled through, October rolled through. It's now February. I'm like, yeah, I might think about doing those applications now, February senior year.
Uh-oh. Did we lose him?
Did we lose? It must be the hotel Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Some technical difficulties.
Okay. We'll give him a little bit.
He probably doesn't even know. He's probably still talking.
Yeah,
I know he probably.
There you go.
Okay.
This hotel Wi-Fi. Forgive me, y'all.
That's what she said.
Everybody's getting these acceptance letters back. I'm like, yo, damn. Okay, I haven't even put mine in yet. So I went to my mother. I'm like, recruiter station is still up the street from the post office where you work at, right? He was like, yeah. He was like, why? Well, next week, let's go ahead and, I want to go talk with the Marine Corps recruiter. He was like, you sure? I'm like, yeah, why not? I'm not putting in any, college applications, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then I'll do college later. I'll get the GI Bill, like Nuri said, and I'll go ahead and do college later. He was like, okay, since you said you're sure, you don't want to look at any of the other branches? Nah. My reason. Army's a bunch of dummies.
Ouch.
I can't swim, so forget about the Navy. And Air Force, they're a bunch of punks. I said it in a different way to her, but since I don't know who's listening, I don't want to say it the way I said. But she was like, okay. And I wasn't going to let you join the Army whether you wanted to or not. And she was in the Army at that time. So she agreed with me about the dummy part. So I'm like, well, all right, cool. Well, we went in, so the recruiter, Dwight Hall, Staff Sergeant Dwight Hall, that brother was good to me. He was like, look, you're going to have to take this test, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, not too many people do too well in this neighborhood, do too well with it, because this was, test, blah, blah, blah. What, 89? Yeah, no, this was, 80, this was March of 89, and this was Flatbush, New York. And, you know, a lot of people in that area didn't do too well on the test. So he was like, are you sure you want to do this? I'm like, bro, look, I'm carrying a doggone A+ average. And we can go through it, and I'll take the test, and, you know, whatever it's going to be, it's going to be. But I'm not worried about that. I'm going to qualify for what I'm qualified for. And he was like, well, what do you want to do? I told him computers or intelligence. He was like, oh, all right, we'll set you up for the test like next week. All right, bet. Went, took the test. He was like, yeah, you can do whatever the hell you want. except for, he said, you can do whatever you want in any branch you want, except for Air Force intelligence. Your score was just below what they required. I'm like, they're a bunch of, and he was like, oh. So went through boot camp, pissed off the DI's first day we met them. Because, you know, y'all remember that day, you know, you meet the company first sergeant, you meet company commander and everybody, and they doing their rigmarole, you know, up and down the squad bay. Well, company commander comes walking up the squad bay talking his junk and walks back down. Me, I pick my head out of line, and I'm looking at it and walk back down. I'm like, 5'2" drill instructor came jumping up and spitting in my face. What are you doing? Oh, who the fuck are you? And that's when the rest of them swept in on me. I'm like,
yeah, they come in packs.
I ain't scared of you motherfuckers. And then boot camp happened. The rest of boot camp happened. And they saw I wasn't scared of them. But hey, it was a better time than most people have in boot camp. And then they sent me to Quantico and left me there. Literally left me there. Nobody does 7.5 years at Quantico in 9 years, ever.
Damn.
Except for me. My only break was a year in Okinawa and boot camp. That's it.
Wow.
So yeah, I got to stay in the DC area for a hell of a long time. Got to meet a whole lot of people. And because they pretty much had us working the Marine Corps Marathon, I got to see Oprah's ass.
Oh,
And I'll end on that. That's a story for another day, but yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh my gosh. So I have to laugh because you know, you were talking about how you weren't scared of the drill instructors. That's the same way Nuri was. And yeah, I've heard many stories you know, about that. So
I mean, for me, the worst. Imagine having a brother that is not only platoon guy, but he was one of the top Marine graduates coming to Paris Island and having those drill instructors remember who your brother is, finding out that his little brother has arrived, and them coming down, and then with my last name being the way it is. Oh, so Moran's here. Little Moran Jr.'s here. And man, and them thinking that I'm going to be just like him. Oh, my God. You know, knowing that, and I was a lot more, my brother was very athletic and all. God bless him. He was very athletic. I was a lot more rounder, even though I had lost a lot of weight. I was a lot more slender, but I wasn't the greatest runner in the world at that time and everything else. So during that time, they came down. They found out I was there. Oh, you're Moran's little brother, huh? Oh yeah. I had a drill instructor. We call him the stress monster. We, for everybody that's gone through boot camp, from Marine Corps boot camp, you had different drill instructors. For when you had your stress monster, you had the drill instructor that had knowledge, you had the drill instructor that mastered drill, and you had the drill instructor that was daddy. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
stress monster made it a point because he knew both my brothers were Marines. He said, "Moran, did I tell you how much I hated you today?" I said, no, drill instructor. You have to talk in the third person. For those who don't know, if you're in boot camp, you have to talk in the third person.
Mm-hmm.
No, drill instructor. Well, I hate you, and I hate your brothers too, and I hate everything about. He made it a point to let me know every day how much he couldn't stand me, couldn't stand my brothers until the day I graduated. So you talk about culture shock. Boot camp for me was culture shock because up until that point, I didn't know what to expect. As soon I'm gonna tell you right now, I was very rebellious when I was up until when I got out of high school because I was on delayed entry program, and so I was like, yeah, I'm going off to Marine Corps. I had the summer to have fun, and then I went off to Marine Corps, and so I was kind of rebellious, when it came to my parents and all. Respected them, but I was still rebellious. My brother was the one who was still in the Marines. He kept me in check, and my other brother, when he was off, he was on tour and all that. But I'm gonna tell you one thing: when I went in the Marine Corps, I went to boot camp, and I stepped foot off into Paris Island. I learned to appreciate my parents so much and respect what they've done for me up to that point. And so coming back home, I had a new appreciation for my parents.
Mm.
And like I said again, you learn to appreciate so many things when you go through boot camp. One thing is they break you down, they build you back up. So that was the one thing I got out of boot camp. It was a lot of crazy stories, but that's just one. I mean, there's some outrageous stuff they did. I mean, they did some real outrageous stuff.
See, I'm recently finding out. I just found out this recently. Things that they were doing to us. That they have a drill instructor discipline manual. The drill instructors, things that they've done to us that they cannot do anymore. So when she started naming stuff off, I was like, "What? You can't do that." One of the things stuck out was they used to make us, for punishment. They would make us stand on line and go to the head, fill that canteen up, and then they would make you drink till you threw up. Sometimes it'd be warm water, and then you have to hold that canteen over your head. It's in the manual. They cannot do that. That's Hayes. They can't do that to you anymore. I was like, dang, you can't do that anymore.
You got to now. If you slightly feel the bit stress and all, you have to get a chit. You have to write a chit. I got a stress.
They get stress chits now. I'm like,
God,
stress chits. Man, we got sand fleas.
Yeah,
oh man,
We got
make
sand
us no crawl till our elbows bled.
Get into the
They
sand
don't
pit.
do that anymore.
But see, that was one of the fun things about, and I'm gonna take it back to my platoon because either we were gully as I don't know what, or we just happened to have the right dudes in the platoon at the right time because it wound up being one of those things where we took first place in everything except for education because one dude wanted to drop so badly that he's like, I want to fail everything just to make sure that they drop me back out of this platoon. Hitting skills. By the time we got to the second or third fighter during hitting skills, the DI started making bets. And they were like, look, you knock this big white boy out, I'm personally driving you to Burger King right after we're done with this and then giving you a phone call home, 30-minute phone call home.
Wow.
I looked at him. I looked at the instructor who was about twice my size. I looked up at homeboy, fucking you up. And I went to knocking the shut up. I put it like this. I got my Burger King that day.
And your 30-minute call, didn't you?
Nah, the instructor stepped in my way before I knocked his ass out. But I got ready to hit him with an uppercut. He saw me go like this. He was like, you hit him, you fight me next. Really, dude? I looked back at my drill instructors. I'm like, yo, They're like, no, don't do it, don't do it.
Oh, we lost him again.
Like,
Oh, there you go.
like, what? Don't do it. Okay. But they got their payback at swim quad because I'm like you, I couldn't swim a lick. They're like, you got to jump off this 12-foot tower.
Right.
All right. I'm not scared to do that. I still can't swim though, so you're gonna get me from the bottom. I'll jump.
With your gear on.
With your gear on, full gear.
With your gear on.
And as long as you make sure I can get up out that water after the fact, and once I finally passed, they cussed me out. And then I had to politely remind them, I'm a kid from Brooklyn who'd never been in a pool before. And y'all expect me to swim and do all this stuff? Never. No, that don't happen.
Yeah. This 10 feet of water.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, I don't care about that. I know I'm not going to die.
Yeah. Well, everybody had a big fear doing boot camp. Me, I could never climb a rope. I was able to do one with gear on by the time I finished boot camp. Hell, halfway through boot camp, I was getting up that rope. But I think my biggest fear was that goddamn gas chamber.
Look, I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna tell you right now. Imagine ready to go to the gas chamber, and your knees, not knowing that your knees are locking, your knees locked, and I passed out right before I went in. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I didn't even know what happened, man. All I'm doing is standing in formation, standing at attention. I was so nervous that, and I didn't know anything about your knees locking and all. Man, all of a sudden I passed out. And all of a sudden when I woke up, I saw all these drill instructors just yelling at me, get up now, get up. Oh. Man, I was freaking out. And then I still had to go in the gas chamber. And they made me stay in there extra long just on that alone. I was so messed up, man. I did not know. They're like, yeah, man, you got to bend your knees, man. Bend your knees when you're in formation. No matter what formation. Yeah. You know, the drill instructor says something to you, fuck it. You just got to deal with it. Just bend those knees. You know, because, man, I mean, seriously, sometimes you get so nervous because you're like this the whole time, like, oh, crap. Man, my knees locked. I think it only happened. The second time it happened for me, my knees locked, is when we were about to graduate. But that time I was like, all right, I'm going to bend these bugs. I ain't passing out. No, I ain't going to pass out. No, hell with that, man. No. But like you, now my biggest thing was the swim qual, because it was that having the backpack thing, when we're doing the back thing, and you're trying to get the latch off, trying to get the thing, because they tell you to take the backpack off and then turn it around, and then you got to
swing it around in front of you. Yeah,
I think it's like locked, man. I'm trying to get it unlocked. I'm like that, and when it didn't unlock, I started getting a little anxious, started freaking out a little bit. I'm like, because I knew how to backstroke. That was the one thing they taught me, how to backstroke. So once I got the feel for the backstroke, I kind of went into it, and I got over the fear. But it was the thing that was locked, and I was like trying to push the goddamn button. I'm like, fuck, and I'm like, you got to be the water thing, man. I'm just like, yo, man, because it's like, the echo of the swim, of the pool area and everything, man. You're like, man, what if I don't qual? Man, I gotta pass it. All these little things variables go through. You got the drill instructor on, you trying not to stress and all, man. Oh, I'm telling you, that's real.
Hey, since you brought up the gas chamber, Jeff Bohannon just said something about going through the chamber twice. Hey, Jeff, they made us go through the chamber twice too. And that was because after a while, they started just wanting to mess with us. And one of my GIs was this crazy white boy. And he went in without a mask and stood in there without a mask the whole damn time.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, yo,
you
something's wrong with you.
His MOS must have been NBC.
Yeah.
Yeah, something was wrong with that dude. And then after the fact, somebody else just said something about chili mac before the chamber. They didn't do the chili mac before the chamber. They were like, go ahead and eat your MREs right after we came out the chamber. Oh. No washing that stuff off your hands or your face or anything like that.
Oh, God.
So you basically eating them MREs and drinking that water down and ingesting all of that CS gas back into your body.
Oh,
Half the platoon threw up after that. That's all you heard half the dog all night.
Yeah, they called that place the House of Pain. I was like, well,
Bro.
earned its name.
Hey, what battalion did you guys graduate from in boot camp? I was first battalion.
Oh, you was first battalion? I was second battalion. Hotel
second
company.
battalion.
Second battalion.
Hotel, yep.
Hotel?
Second battalion. 2105. Platoon 2105.
I was
Both
platoon
of y'all were
2102.
Hotel. I was hotel.
I was 2031.
Hey, we both we both hotel.
Oh, everybody's second battalion. Okay, except me. Okay.
Yeah.
I was first battalion. I was Echo Company boot camp too, though.
Okay.
Nice.
Right. No third battalions.
Bro, yo, hold on. I gotta rewind. Let me tell you about my experience when I first got to boot camp, right? Okay, so my recruiter, recruiter told me before boot camp, hey, Webster, stay in shape. Make sure you run in and stuff. I'm like, man, whatever, bro. Please, I'll be all right. I didn't listen. So I got to boot camp, started off 3rd Battalion. I'm like, what? When I tell you my senior drill instructor was the biggest human being I've ever seen in my life, I said, oh my God, I'm gonna die. I was like, I couldn't make the 1.5 mile run. I kept coming in like a couple minutes over that 13 minutes. Bro, they sent me to PCP. I was like, what? Because you gotta get your run time now. I was like, oh no, man. So PCP is a physical condition platoon, but they call it the pork chop platoon. Mind you, I was not a pork chop. But my butt was in there. So when I saw what they did, you PT all day, every day. I'm like, oh, I got to get up out of here. I think I was in there probably 2 weeks only. I was out of there. I was like, I got to get up. I remember one of the drill instructors in PCP was like, what you doing here? I don't know, bro, but how quickly can I get out of here? So the first time we got to get out, I was out of there, and that's how I ended up in 1st Battalion. I was like, man, ever since then, I graduated boot camp. I'm telling you, I had the high schools and everything. I was like, I ain't never falling back again. That taught me about. I started off in 3rd Battalion, and let me tell you,
I tell you this
3rd Battalion always got a violent rep because 1st Battalion and 2nd Battalion on Paris Island were up by the parade deck.
Yeah.
3rd Battalion was past the wooded swamp area back in the cut. So they was all kind of horror stories. People say, man, they beating the shit out them recruits over there.
Man, no, I'm telling you, it wasn't no joke, man. I was like, what in the world? Man, what is wrong with y'all? When I got the 1st Battalion, I mean, it's still the Marine Corps, but if you came from 3rd Battalion, trust me, I got a whole different level of respect for you. Man. I was like, nah, man, I'm glad it happened for a reason.
I'll tell you one thing. I wasn't the fastest runner, but after going through boot camp, man, after every run, man, I would be throwing up after every blessed run, and that carried over with me into the civies. I mean, into the civilian world. Yeah, man, I'm gonna tell you right now, because every time it took, up until a certain point, anytime I used to do a run, man, I would hear a drill instructor in my head, man. I would just throw up anything, water, I'm gonna tell you right now, they motivated me so much because I used to hate running. They motivated me so much. I used to run ahead of the platoon. Get back in formation. I'm like, they're like, but it would charge up the other platoon also because they used to know that I was the guy who was sometimes behind the man. I was like, no. But after a certain point, like I said, you get charged up and all that. But man, like I said, it was every time after a run now. Like I can't run like I used to, but when I used to run, every time after a run, I'll just throw up, man. It just came, and I was like, here a drill instructor, you better get up there, and I get that tunnel vision and all, man. It messes with me to this day, man. But like I said, I can't run like I used to, so I'm like, I don't have to worry about that no more. I'm already getting old. Woo!
Running was one of the things I never worried about. I
couldn't do it.
Nah, I was running sub 18s and didn't even realize it. I was running sub 18s and didn't realize it for the 3 miles. And then I got sick. Yeah, I got sick. I got sick during right before final PFT. Mm-hmm. and I ran a 1720 or something like that.
Damn,
And I was hacking up a lung the whole run. And they told me my time afterwards. I was like, huh? Like, yeah, you ran a 17 blah blah blah. Like, oh damn, okay. I'm still coughing up a lung, but yeah, I wasn't worried about running. To the point where we went, got to Quantico, got to that duty station, and the company runs and the battalion runs. I purposely go back and pick up the guys that were falling back. And my company first sergeant started leaving me alone after a while, because he was like, Smith, why are you falling out? I'm not falling out. I'm going to get them. I'll beat you back to the doggone battalion if I have to. Don't worry about me. I'm going to get the Marines that are falling back out of the company. And once he saw me pulling them back up, he was like, "Oh," he was serious. And then he started shutting up and leaving me alone until a few years later, when he caught me doing something I wasn't supposed to be doing.
Rebel you.
Hey, Webb, because Mo asked me this earlier today.
What's up?
When did you enter 22? When did you graduate boot camp?
December 92.
Okay. So because I graduated October 16th of 92. Because she was wondering, were we in boot camp together, and did we enter 22 together? I said, I can't remember. But I know, as long as I can remember my time with 22, I've always known Webster. So I knew it wasn't that long, whether we came in together or whether a month or two apart. I knew we entered the fleet pretty much around the same time.
Yeah, pretty close.
Early 93.
Yeah, because I was in weapons.
Yeah. Which was like what, 2 spaces over? Because our formations were all together. Yep, you had first platoon, second platoon, third platoon, weapons platoon. So we were always together all the time.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. So let's go on to the next question. So Marines have been in the forefront of every American war since the founding of the Corps. They've carried out over 300 landings on foreign shores, being the first to set boots on the ground. Having served everywhere from the poles to the tropics, with a record of readiness that reflects pride, responsibility, and courage. With that said, what is it that really sets the Marines apart from the other branches?
That brotherhood, it's a unique experience. Boot camp, there's no boot camp like ours. There's no training like ours. I think, at our essence, we are just elite fighters as opposed to other branches. Other branches have special forces, as do we, but you can take out, the most basic infantry Marine or a basic Marine, and we're just, more of an elite fighter, elite combat ready. I think the discipline, all that plays a part. Is different. And, like I said, overall, just that brotherhood. Look at their birthdays. No other branch really recognizes their birthdays like the Marine Corps. That itself shows it sets us apart. So just things like that. That brotherhood. That depending on the next man. To have your back if you go down. Or, be in that foxhole with you. You don't get there anywhere else. It's just a very unique experience. I think my other brothers on here with me will echo the same sentiment.
It kind of goes back to that one band, one sound thing. That you're hearing, with the different HBCU bands and stuff like that, because pretty much, and it's known all over the world. Every Marine is a rifleman. Every Marine is a rifleman. Every Marine will whoop your ass if you step to him wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And that's from the cook to the supply guy to the dudes in it's more than the dress blues, Jeff. You know that. I mean, that's part of it too. That's what gets us the ladies, but it's every MOS for us Marines. Every MOS is a fighter first, and then they do their job, which is what makes our brotherhood that much tighter. Because we know if something goes down, that person beside me has got my back, whether it's man, woman, or other. They've got my back, and they know how to handle themselves just as well as I do, or better.
Mhm.
And we're very adaptive.
And when the stuff goes down, everybody's scrapping.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we're adaptable in almost any situation that's
Exactly.
thrown our way.
Right.
Absolutely.
We can adapt in any kind of situation that's
Yep.
placed in our way, and we know how to deal with the situation. We know how to follow when we need to follow, but we also know how to lead when we need to lead also. And that's what cuts us differently. That's not knocking any other branches. It's just stating fact. You put any, you know the difference in a room when you say, okay, that's a Marine, and these are other people that served in other branches. But you know the difference when you're in a room with Marines and other people that have served in other branches. The Marines stand out. And every time a Marine stands out, you don't know how many times I've been in a room and I have people come over to me and say to me, even on my day job, and they're like, "You're a Marine, aren't you?" Because the way how I'm like, I tell people all the time, I don't like chaos. I like order. I like things in a certain manner. I'm like, ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Sir, I need you over here. Ma'am, I need you over here. If I need to escalate my voice up, I know how to talk to them with respect. But at the same time, if I need to escalate my voice up, ma'am, I need you over here right now. Please, sir, step up. Stop right there, please. It's just a way of how we're designed. It's by design how we were taught in boot camp and how we carry on with that in life. And like both Wendell, both Donald, and both John has said in our prior conversations, is how we adapt in the civilian world. And some people will get it, some people that don't. It's just the fact that how we conduct ourselves and how we conduct ourselves in everyday life. It's just in our blood. One Marine will recognize another Marine. It's just and like I've said in a prior statement, in a prior post, we're like a fraternity in our own right. You know, that's you got the alphas, you got the Qs, you got the kappas, but we're a fraternity in our own right. Whether male or female WMs, male WMs, doesn't matter. Once a Marine, always a Marine, because we all know we've been through the struggle, going through boot camp, and all struggle while serving and all. Whether it doesn't like Wendell said, it doesn't matter if you're a clerk, cook.
When it's time to throw a hand.
Yep. And so, like I said again,
10 rounds down range.
Yep. And we all, and even if we didn't serve together, we all know the strife that we've all been through, the ups and downs. It doesn't matter if you've been a sergeant major, whether you've been a PFC, whether you've been a lance corporal or a corporal. We all have stories to tell, but we all can all relate, and we all have a common respect. And like, there's been people that I've been introduced to that are fellow Marines, and we all hung out, like we've all served together. And it's just, again, it's a unique style. It's a unique brotherhood that cannot be matched by any other branch.
Yep.
Can't.
The history. I think what gives us the edge is we pride ourselves on the history of our Marine forefathers. And you see it in society. When you watch shows, the things that people love about certain shows, I tell my wife all the time, I said, that's Marine Corps. When those Mandalorians stand up there with all that pride and honor talking about this is the way, that's Marine Corps.
Yes.
They're basing that stuff off the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
The Battle of Belleau Woods, that was in World War I. But it was one of our greatest battles. It earned us the
Bravo
name.
16. Bravo 16.
Yes, indeed. Fierce fighting dogs of legendary origin.
That's
Devil
right.
Dog. They were awarded the Croix de Guerre.
That's right.
If you were 4th, 5th, or 6th Marines, you got the Croix de Guerre. And mine hangs proudly up on my alphas in the closet. That Croix de Guerre was special to me. 1st Battalion, 6th Marines, Charlie Company, 3rd Platoon, Operation Sea Signal. 2-2 always had my heart because I spent Operation Uphold Democracy, D-Web. I spent the majority of my infantry time with 2-2. I didn't extend my contract. So I got sent out to 2nd AAVs, Amtraks. Man, that was sweet duty. I was out there 6 months working in the armory. Then I came back into the fleet, and that's when I ended up with 1st Battalion, 6th Marines. And I tell you, they were a spit and polish. Them 6th Marine boys was bad. But it was an honor to spend my last, I think I was with them for 9 months, like my last 9 months. And that was Operation Sea Signal. And I swear, them boys, they had their shit together. 6th Marines was something special, man. I'll never forget 6th Marines. So But Tutu had my heart because I spent most of my infantry time with Tutu. But yeah, it's the history that bonds us, and we never let that history. We keep retelling the stories over and over again. And we take pride in that. Other branches don't do that. They're just they served and they move on, but not us. We're always Marines. We're always.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's my thoughts on it. That brotherhood. Since I've been out, I've never seen anything like it. Civilians frustrate the hell out of me. The lack of attention to detail. You got to tell them things 100 times. Like, look, man. And then I hear some of them say, "Man, I should have went in." I said, "Nah, dog, you wouldn't have made it."
No, exactly.
You wouldn't have made it.
Exactly. Yeah.
If you have to say that, don't even think that thought again.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I had a state trooper tell me that as he pulled me over for doing 90 and an 80, he sat me in his car and told me that he wished he would have. I'm like, dog, you're a state trooper. What the hell you mean you're scared to go into the military? I looked at him like he was a clown until he reduced my ticket. Now I'm like, you know what? Thank you. I'm gonna keep on going. But yeah, if you have to sit there and say, I wish I could have, you wouldn't have made it.
You didn't have made it.
Right.
So
with all of that said, as we getting closer to the end of the hour, this has been great.
oh wow.
I know, right? Yeah, but we'll have part 2 another day for sure. But before we do end, though, I did want to ask, given that everything that was said tonight, what tips or advice would you give to someone who's looking to join the Marines?
Do your research. Make sure you know what you're getting into. Like friends or family, or even people that you know that have in or have family members in, ask questions. Don't be ashamed to ask questions. Know what you're getting into, because once you step foot on that bus, once you sign your name on that dotted line, they got you for 4 years. They got you. They got you.
I'm gonna make it even simpler. Because my drill instructors dropped this on all of us. They were like, look, you may have been Billy Badass on the street, but once you step on the yellow footsteps, you're mine. And when you leave, you're not going to be the person that you thought you were. Absolutely. You're going to be a badass, but not because of what you think you were. It's going to be because of what I made you. So for me, I tell people, and I told this to my young cousin, I'm like, yo, if you're going to do it, go into it with an open mind. Do your research and all, but go into it with an open mind. Don't think you know more than the drill instructors do, because they're the ones who are teaching you. You're not teaching them anything. They've seen it all.
Mm-hmm. You ain't gonna out hustle them neither. Them jokers in superior shape.
Exactly. I mean, you may get one over every now and again. Like I said, we got one over when because we were just gully. We like to fight. We like to fight. We like to shoot. So we got over on those two things. But there were plenty of times we were sitting there saying hello to them damn sand fleas. We knew them on first name basis. We were better than that, man.
Yeah, I'm graphic with it when I hear people say, "Yeah, I'm going to." You sure that's what you want?
Right.
I mean, that heat, 25, 30 mile humps, forced marches.
Right.
Living out there in the bush all the time. I swear to God, I spent more time in the field. That infantry, man, that's something else. You coming in, you dirty, you funky, only to know you're gonna do it all again next week. And when it's time to build up,
there's a reason why I told my doggone recruiter, I want computers.
Yeah. You gonna do it all next week?
I almost slipped up. I was like, yo, I'm actually kind of into mapping and stuff like that too, because I do a lot of CAD work at the time. And he was like, well, they get attached to infantry units. I was like, oh, never mind. Let's stick with computers. I'm not with this in the field every other week nonsense. No, because my recruiter was an infantry dude, so he gave me a little bit of the rundown. I was like, okay, yeah, we're gonna stick with computers. He was like,
Well, see, Wendell, I was opposite, man. I had a high score, my ass fab, and they offered me everything else. I was like, nah, man, I want to go to infantry. And my recruiter looked at me like, hey, you like, yo, hey, Webster, like, man, you for real? I was like, yeah, I want to go to infantry. He's like, oh my goodness. Yeah, man, I asked for
Web
it,
the
and they
real
gave me
deal,
everything I
man.
asked for.
Oh no, they
Yeah,
wouldn't.
Web the real deal. I'm telling you, Webster's had my back more times than I can count in the trenches and in the company office. I was a rebel back then. I was flagrant with my mouth, man, and D-Web had my back, and they was gonna try and jam me up, but D-Web and First Sergeant Royal, the boys had my back. Man, I'll never forget that. You going up against an officer, multiple officers, you usually don't win those fights. But D-Web helped me win those fights against platoon commanders that were just grimy guys. And me, I was kind of, I was out there. I was a rep, man. I was a child of Public Enemy. So that stuff that they was running didn't fly with me. So I was loose with the mouth. But yeah, man, I'm telling you, that's why this man is in the comic book, man. Y'all gonna catch him in these upcoming issues. This man has had my back over all these years. He still had my back. Even in this comic game, he's one of my first supporters, man. So yeah, that's how deep the brotherhood goes.
Always, brother.
I love it. I just want to say, like, this is so fun listening to the stories, and it's, people in the comments are really enjoying this too. So if you guys are good with it, I would definitely love to do a round 2 on this for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
We have endless stories, trust me.
No, yeah, I know.
We haven't even scratched the surface.
Yeah, D-Web, I gotta ask you all the questions, even though John's gonna be like, no.
Hey, my brother just said I got his back now. I ain't gonna give too much.
I know. Yes, the brotherhood is strong. The brotherhood is strong.
No doubt.
Alrighty. Well, thank you guys so much. But before we sign off, let people know like where they can follow you online and the things you guys do now. In this crazy world that we live in. Let's go with Wendell first.
Okay, I'm gonna give my IG stuff. On IG, I have two different accounts. First one is BIGSMU, and that's my everything account. I pretty much post a lot of my cosplay stuff there, but I also post a lot of silly stuff there. If you haven't caught on through this past hour, I like silly. Because you can't go through life too serious about everything. Yeah. But then I also have my cosplay page where it's Scorp King costume. Because I'm a cosplayer, I actually make the majority of the stuff I wear. I also do commissions and stuff like that. So my cosplay related stuff or my fashion related stuff, I'll post there as well for folks to see.
Gotcha. Smoke.
For me, I'm on IG under the Smoke 007. You can catch a lot of my cosplays and other promotional stuff I do. I'm also on TikTok under Eric the Smoke Moran. I'm also on YouTube. You can check me out on YouTube for my promotional stuff I have going on. I have an ongoing series going on, the Orville fan series, The Planetary Step. It's been an ongoing series. We have the support of the producers from the Orville, and we're the first of its kind. Nice. We're about to put out 2 brand new episodes coming up very soon. Also, I'm on Twitter under the Smoke 000, and I'm also on Facebook. And if you have a hard time just finding all that, just go on Google search under Eric the Smoke Moran, and you'll find everything and anything that you want. IMBD, the whole 9. I'm also doing TV and films. So you'll probably be seeing me on a lot of stuff. And I'm also doing a feature film. We're finishing up filming Surge of Power, Where There's Smoke. It'll be coming out in 2022. Nice. I'll be featured with a lot of film actors like Robert Picardo. Who else is in it? Sam Jones, Nichelle Nichols, just to name a few. And a whole bunch of other great actors are in this film. Great superhero film. And I play as the Smoke. So check it out. There's a lot more coming up. I can't wait for y'all to know. So that's follow my stuff.
Great. Nuri?
Oh, well, I'm on the back end of my Metro career. So I'm in year 20 for public transportation. But Of course, I'm a federal firearms dealer, so I deal guns. I try to help instruct with guns. I'm running up and down. We had some people a couple of years ago, and I'm running up and down that gun line, being aggressive because I need all of them to understand this is serious. These are not toys. People can get hurt. So, of course, I'm the author and creator of the Wild Card Chronicles comic book series, president of the Joker's Revenge Motorcycle Club, and you can reach me on Facebook, John McAdams on Facebook. You can catch me on YouTube at Blunt Force Media, and you can also reach me through the Moana Nui Podcast.
That's what's up. D-Web?
Well, damn, I guess I'm just Mr. Abnormal over here. I am the star of the Webster household with playing a role of Shantae's husband, Armani, and Naima's dad.
I love it. That's the most important role.
Yeah, no doubt. Number one show. Extreme Sleep. You catch my new show, Extreme Sleepers. That's big.
Well, you forgot to tell them you were in the Heart of They Fall, man. I saw you in that, man. You were awesome.
I wish. But, I'm on Facebook, Donald Webster. I got an IG, but, it's Habitual Line Stepper is the name. I keep it low key. That's it for me. That's it, I play my games, read my comics, and, support you guys. And that's it,
That's what's up.
That's what's up. And we appreciate
I have
you.
one more plug that I need to make.
Go ahead,
When you said to make it, put my stuff out there, I just put my stuff out there. But I'm also the vice president of HBCUCon, and HBCUCon will be at Bowie State University this upcoming April 29th through May 1st. Come out, support us. We've got some stuff planned. Go to the website hbcucon.org, and you'll see what we got coming. Because we're bringing the HBCU experience to the con life.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely check that out, guys. Alrighty. Well, that was a very quick hour. As you know, hey, we're with Marines. Of course, it's going to be let's go.
Yeah.
Yes. But thank you guys again so much for being a part of the podcast. We will definitely be scheduling a part 2 for those who I know a lot of people commented in the comments and were enjoying the conversation, whether they served with you in the Marines, had family members who were in the service. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Be sure to also share this video, subscribe to the Moana Nui Podcast. We are on YouTube and Twitch, and we stream live on Thursdays at 7 and 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And we are available on all podcast platforms. Next Tuesday, we have our project launching on Kickstarter, The Adventures of Nakoa and Nohea, Shadows of the Ancient. So please go to moanatheauthor.com. Be sure to follow that. And please help us support and get that book out here for our kids. And with that said, I think we will sign off for tonight. Take care, everybody, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you, guys.
Hey.
Number 5.
Yes.
Peace and heritage. Peace and heritage.
And the real reason
So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf, if they won't tell it, we will. If this the land of the free, was a freedom then, when they annexed Hawaii and called it cedar lands, without any type of payment and no signing off. Called themselves a republic in 1894. 1.2 million acres overtaken from the native Hawaiians. When they resisted, the West retaliated in violence and erasure. The Hawaiian language is banned as part of colonialism's plan to expand, Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. No work out for all the locals, school will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf, if we won't tell it we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf, if we won't tell it we will. We will. So if we put Hawaii into perspective, well, Black and Asian history is interconnected. Considering the fight with the Pacific, then of course versus Asia, he was treated as a middleman for war, but didn't let the Western colorism run its course, cause dark skin was a sign of dignity to core. The land was taken in the name of capitalism, when prior to it was an actual kingdom. Clap back at the system, stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia, used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation, colonizers call for annexation. No work out for all the locals, school will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf, if we won't tell it we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf, if we won't tell it we will. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf, if we won't tell it we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf, if we won't tell it we will. We will.